Hey everyone, it's Jason and this is your weekend cruise news update. And we have a cruise passenger upset over birds. Do crew members really receive 100% of their auto tips? And I need your opinion. Do you think underage kids should be allowed to sit at the bar on cruises? So cruise story number one, a cruise passenger is upset because they couldn't feed the seagulls on their cruise ship. So someone wrote in to John Heald, the brand ambassador for Carnival Cruise Line. And they said they were on the Carnival Luminosa in Alaska and they were feeding the seagulls, throwing it bread. And they said it was great. They love seagulls. They're God's creatures. They don't have any bother to anyone. And someone called security on them. A busybody neighbor called security. And that security knocked on their door and treated them like school children, telling them they could not feed the seagulls anymore. And they were complaining about this. Now, John Heald backed up the security and said they were doing their job. Sorry if you felt that they treated you like school children, but they were doing their job. And their naturalists on board tell people, hey, you cannot feed wildlife. And please don't feed seagulls because they cause unsanitary conditions because they poop all over the ship and they can get aggressive towards other people because they're not feeding them. You would think this is just common sense, but apparently not. Because if you've been to any Florida beach, and I'm going to say this, I know people are going to go, that's Carnival for you. No. I've been on every single beach, a lot of them in Florida. I've been walking by the breakers. I've been all over Palm Beach and Siesta Key, all over. Very high-end areas. And people are feeding seagulls. So it's not just Carnival. You can't do that. What on earth are people thinking? Feeding seagulls from a cruise ship. Can you imagine walking out onto your balcony and your neighbor's feeding seagulls and they're like, ah! Now they're coming and they're attacking you and you're like, holy moly. I mean, they're flying into your cabin. I mean, I can just see this happening. And they are complaining next door because you called security. Come on. You got to have a little more common sense than that. Sometimes I really do have to wonder. And I feel bad for John Heald, the brand ambassador for Carnival. He gets some of the craziest questions. What do you think about this? And do you hate when people feed seagulls, especially on the beach? You know, they bring a big loaf of bread and they're throwing it all around. And then the seagulls get aggressive and they start picking at you. I've seen people running away because they're like, where's more bread? What a wild story that one is. So cruise story number two, and this is the number one question I receive in my comments, my emails, and my DMs. Do crew members really receive 100% of the automatic gratuities, or do you think the company takes them? Now, I thought this was an interesting topic because I just saw a thread on this on Reddit. And it was a crew member that said, hey, I work for Carnival Cruise Line, AMA, ask me anything. And of course, the first question was, do you receive all your gratuities? Or does the company take some? And they said, we absolutely receive them. And it is a major portion of our salary. The interesting thing is the next comment that came up, and there was multiple other crew members that jumped in from other cruise lines, and they said this is 100% the case. We do receive our gratuities. The rumors out there that we don't receive them or the companies take them from them, that's unfounded. Now, I saw people crew members from Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, Carnival Corporation, Princess, and NCL. So pretty much all the major corporations I saw jump in there. Now, this one was interesting is a lot of them said, well, wouldn't you rather just receive cash and we'll just take the automatic gratuities off? And they said, absolutely not. Now, this is a question I've asked multiple crew members over the years. And it was explained to me as it was explained in this thread that, hey, look, there's people behind the scenes that are part of the tipping pool that help me do my job in order for me to provide better service for you. Please don't take your tips away from them. I said, say no more. Absolutely. Because if you have an amazing experience overall on your cruise, just leave those automatic tips on. That's what I've been told in the past. And then the next question always is how much extra should you tip people? So if you want to tip someone in cash, how much extra? And I personally believe this is up to personal choice. It's a personal preference on that. But I have been told by many crew members, hey, even a little bit helps us. Because we're sending all our money overseas. We're sending it back home to help our families. So any cash that we receive, we buy maybe shoes or personal items in the ports of call or on the ship to help us just live. So they use that kind of, as they say, their fun money. So do you tip extra on your cruise? If you do, you don't have to get into how much, do you take off your automatic gratuities and pay in cash? Now, please keep it civil out there. I'm not looking to point any fingers and tell them that they're wrong. This is just interesting information from crew members because this is a highly contested debate. So before I get to cruise story number 3, I would ask that you please like this video as it does help the channel grow. Also, consider subscribing as we're on the path to 100,000 subscribers by the time we go on our Alaskan cruise at the end of August. If you could help me out with that, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much. So cruise story number 3, and this has a lot of people divided, so where do you stand on it? Do you think kids that are underage should be allowed to sit at the bars? I'm not talking about the bar area, I'm talking about at the bars. And this has really sparked a lot of debate because of the icon of the seas. There's a recent thread, someone was giving their opinions and about their recent Icon of the Seas trip, and they talked about the swim and tonic bar. And they said they were fed up with parents allowing kids to sit at the bars. This has garnered about 900 comments, 600 or 700 likes in 3 or 4 days. And it's really interesting because they say, look, what happened is they go to swim up to the kids are allowed in the swim and tonic bar. There's stools there at the bar. They go up there, they're ordering a drink, and sure enough, kids are splashing around, and it got pool water in their drink. Well, the bartender had to remake it. He said this happened 4 times, he just gave up. And he goes, the lifeguards aren't doing nothing about it. And they're allowing them to sit up there. He said later on at another bar, 11:30 at night, they're allowing them to sit at the bar top. And he says a mother got upset because her kids were sitting up there and there's a couple people that were having a conversation and had some adult language in it. The guy looked over at her and said, kids shouldn't be in a bar, especially 11:30 at night. Too bad. Wow. And I get Royal Caribbean is a family cruise line, but should they allow kids at the bars? And there's multiple people that are like giving stories on the Symphony, on the schooner bar, saying the same thing. And it said the bartenders were really uneasy with that. Once again, I'm talking about the bar top, not in the bar area. What do you think about this one? Because this is something that I've heard multiple people complain about the Icon of the Seas. And I believe that swim and tonic bar was supposed to be an adult-only bar, and they didn't do anything about it. It's an interesting topic. Where do you guys stand on this? Should they be allowed at the bars on cruise ships? Like I said, I get Royal Caribbean is family friendly, but you have to understand, if you are in a restaurant, most restaurants are not going to allow you to sit someone underage, especially like 12, 13 years old, at the bar. Let me know what you guys think. So I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for the support. It really means a lot to me. And until I talk to you next week, happy cruising.